Hey everyone, today I want to talk about quite a few things because way too many things are all happening at once. So let's talk about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and the supposed banned scenes that has everyone riled up, as well as how even more companies are now coming forward with silencing free speech and threatening to lock players out of content and games if they don't comply. Firstly, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is about 2 weeks or so away at this point, as of the making of this video anyway. It's one of the most wish-listed and pre-ordered games on Steam right now, and I am poised to believe that this game could very well become a massive seller because everything is aligning so well for it. DEI is on the back burner, wokeness is dying, there's a wave of common sense that is flushing out a lot of the insanity that has taken root these past 10 years and then some, and Kingdom Come has pretty much everything that it needs to position itself for the easiest slam dunk in gaming. Of course, there was this story about the Saudi Arabia thing, which I did do an emergency stream recently on too, with Francesco Solback of That Park Place and Smash AT as well, where we discussed these things and how authentic they could be. But in case you didn't catch the stream, there are some things that I want to talk about here and present it in a more easier to see fashion. I also saw something else about this whole situation that made me raise an eyebrow as well, and I want to ask the question: could this lead to a boycott of Kingdom Come 2? Well, let's get into it. So in case you don't know, pretty much Kingdom Come 2 is allegedly banned in Saudi Arabia for scenes that pushed agendas that goes against what that region of the world is okay with. It all started when a Saudi website called VGA4A posted this on social media, claiming that the game was banned because it contained LGBT themes and agendas. More context was given, which says the game has been banned in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia because it contains an immoral scene that promotes hidden agendas in video games. The source also indicated that the game developer refused to release a revised version specific to the region, which led to the ban decision. Now, me, Francesco, and Smash theorized that this scene could very well be a scene with a bathhouse or something else, where naked people are seen walking around in-game, as this would be commonplace. I mean, it is taking place during the medieval time period. And since Warhorse Studios is so hell-bent on being historically accurate, they could very well refuse to remove scenes like this. Because while they are, yes, full of nudity, both male and female, it is a legit thing that existed and would happen. And likely to not ruin their vision of historical accuracy, they refused to change it, thus it got banned, supposedly. However, if you actually looked into what Saudi Arabia's rules are when it comes to what it means to be banned there, things start making more sense. As Google states, Saudi Arabia has strict rules for sexual content in media, including prohibitions on nudity, indecent clothing, and content that may incite sexual desire. The government also restricts online content that may threaten public morals, religious values, or public order. So even having someone dress where they're showing skin, I guess, that is considered unneeded or something is also bannable in Saudi Arabia. So that's another thing to mention. Here's more specific reasons as it says here. Nudity and indecent clothing. Content that shows nudity or indecent clothing is prohibited. Sexual desire. Content that may provoke sexual desire is prohibited. Pornography. The whole thing is just a cybercrime apparently. Public order, religious values, and public morals. So as you can see, all the actual reasons for why Kingdom Come could be theoretically banned in that part of the world could be any one of these reasons. It could be that there's a nude man in a scene, or even a woman. It could show two women kissing, or two men kissing somewhere. We don't know exactly. The point being is that what is considered bannable is so far-reaching of a net that it could be almost anything. Unfortunately, as of now, we don't know what this scene entails exactly. It could be anything that I just mentioned. Or it could just straight up be two men, doing stuff to each other. I don't know, cause there was no context given. But this story got big enough that even Insider Gaming caught wind of it as well. But what was weird was that Insider Gaming did confirm that they are indeed playing the game. And at one point in the article, they shed some light that made me raise an eyebrow, which is where they say they can confirm there was at least one option at one point in the game where the main character could ask another man questions that signified that they were looking for a same-sex romance, which is incredibly bizarre to me. because there is zero indication that Henry, the same hero you played in the first game, was gay or even bi. Every romance option for Henry in the first game was strictly women alone, and that was it. By the way, there was only 2 options in the first game. One was Teresa, who you're seeing on screen here, and then the other option was Lady Stephanie. That's the only options that you had in the main game, unless you, I guess, modded it or something. There were never any men that you could romance, because Henry was considered canonically straight in Kingdom Come. So it is very bizarre that Insider Gaming is now confirming that they have indeed seen a same-sex romance option for Henry in Kingdom Come 2. This could be one of those hidden agendas that the Saudi ban is alluding to, because of course gay romance would be bannable in their region for obvious reasons. But I find the inclusion of same-sex romance for Henry to be completely ridiculous, because there has never been any mention of Henry being that way at all. The guy is very clearly designed to be an everyman. That was the idea of the game. In case you didn't play the original, Henry kind of sucks in the beginning. He can't really wield a sword. He's terrible at, well, everything. And Kingdom Come Deliverance is really about a young man being forced into the real world by the threads of destiny after his village and his family are, well, killed and destroyed and, all that stuff. And then he obviously wants revenge, but he's not the chosen one or some gifted pupil like in other games. He's literally just some guy in some backwater village until, you play and find out more and get better at the game, of course. But Henry being suddenly bi or gay is out of character for him, and this confuses me because it seems like Warhorse doesn't understand the audience that they've cultivated here. But I guess I could ask the question to you, and you can let me know. Does Henry having the option to be gay or bi make you not want to play the game? Or does the option not matter because you will just make him straight anyways? I guess let me know, but it is a weird change regardless. Many have pointed out, even in my recent stream, that the immoral scenes could very well have nothing to do with Henry at all. Istvan Toth, one of the villains of Kingdom Come, is canonically a gay man, even in the first game. But again, he's a bad guy. He's not the hero, so him being gay, that has no bearing on your player experience, since he's obviously someone that you're trying to defeat anyways. It could be that this immoral scene that they speak of is Istvan Toth having some intimate time with his lover or lovers, but if this is the case, I don't consider this to be a reason to boycott the game because, again, he's a bad guy, and he's also not the player character. It's one thing if Warhorse thrusted a gay romance scene on the player as Henry, participating in it against their will. Yeah, sure, that would be ridiculous. But the villain? I don't see a problem with that at all, since again, Istvan has been gay this entire time anyways, and people played the first game just fine knowing that. This is where my mind is going, is that these immoral scenes, so to speak, are likely involving Istvan to some degree. And if that's the case, and Warhorse refused to remove these scenes because those scenes allow the player to understand one of the central antagonists better and show that he is someone who I guess enjoys other men when he isn't, slaughtering men or, burning down villages or whatever, I think it's fine. Will the scenes be hard to watch? Probably, but the notion that you can't skip the scene, that's likely a lie too, really? Since the only game that I can think of that has come in the last few years where you can't skip a scene in it is the God of War games, the Nordic ones specifically. Because the way the camera and the gameplay seamlessly moves between story and gameplay, there's basically zero skipping, which is why I've never replayed those games because you can't skip the cutscenes. But in Kingdom Come, or even Witcher and so on, this has always been something that you are allowed to skip. So I doubt that you can't skip this cutscene or scenes in general, since 99% of modern games allow you to do just that. And let's be real, it would be pretty based of Warhorse to make their villains in Kingdom Come be gay, since in the eyes of the church, they would be considered heretics for their actions too. But again, if this is the case, I don't think that it's something that should mean people should boycott the game over. Also, there were 2 pictures going around that I did debunk on the stream, but I wanted to put them in this video too, to ensure that as many people as possible saw them, so that nobody spreads misinformation. So there's this one set of pictures floating around showing Henry and Hans, who are best friends from the first game, in the lake together in their underwear. This scene happens very early on after the opening battle, and these pictures were floating around saying that Hans is expressing his love to Henry in a gay sense, but this in fact is not real. I can actually show you the scene in which these pictures were taken from. This is from the IGN preview, and here, watch this. But I want to show you something. So again, people are trying to push these pictures as real, right? I already feel like they're fake. They're saying, I love you, Henry. I always have. Here they are. And I'm looking at that and my gut's going, that can't be real, because here we are. Let me just share this tab instead here. So here we have the IGN Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 gameplay, the first 43 minutes of the game. Okay. So no spoilers. It's the first hour of the game. Just so you know, it's like right near the end of the preview. Basically what ends up happening is there's like a big siege. They're battling, yada, yada, yada. They get away at the nick of time. Then the game starts. Okay. That's how Kingdom Come starts. Number 2, not really a spoiler. I'm not going to tell you the context beyond that. Just they're in a battle. They survive. And now they're in the countryside. So these are the same scene that we just saw there, right? I love you, Henry. Always have. Okay. This is what the actual scene plays out like. So please watch.
That's a view fit for a king. Whew. You were right about our stench. Let's hope this water isn't too cold. You wouldn't want your pride and joy shrinking.
I'm more worried about it being too deep.
Come on.
So, right, we'll keep watching in a bit, but notice already, Hans is supposed to be the comic relief in this game, right? So far, this is not coming off as anything. This is what I'm telling you. This is why I'm telling you guys you can't believe everything you see on the internet, because what are you going to say? Go ahead. What are you going to say?
Well, Hans and Henry becoming gay doesn't make any sense whatsoever, especially with Hans being this, I mean, he was around in Kingdom Come Deliverance. I mean, there's a side quest that has everything to do with how you need to deal with the broken hearts of the ladies that he, left. So this does sound like it comes out of nowhere, and I don't believe it one bit. I mean, you played it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it's like
there was never any moment that I could, when I played the first game, played that game a few years ago, that there was ever any inclination that Henry or Hans were gay at all. They were very clearly straight white men, very common in medieval Europe at the time. But again, keep watching this scene, because again, this is one of those scenes that people are trying to say is, them making love. But again, from so far what you're watching is just two guys in a lake that just got into a battle and they want to take a swim. Let's keep watching.
Oh, that really shrivels the old ball sack.
What's the matter?
Females.
Literally what he's looking at. He's literally hearing women, and he's immediately going towards this. That should tell you everything right now, that this scene right here that people are trying to share is fake. It's literally the same scene. Look at this. It's literally the exact same thing. Look at this. Almost frame by frame, I have it here. This is not real. This, I love you, Henry, I always have. He has his ear to his thing, right? Okay. Let's go back just a smidge. Oh, there, look, right here. Let me show you here. Okay, he has his hand on his ear. This is the exact same scene that someone on the internet's trying to push as it being gay to, I don't know, sabotage the game, ruin Warhorse's, credence, whatever the hell it is.
The other one, because I'm just looking at the font. There we go. Yeah, no, it's a different font. It's 100% different.
Look at this font. Look at this font, everybody. Okay, everyone looking at it. All right, now let's go back to the actual game. Now I want you to look at the font that's down here. Completely different. Completely different. And we're almost frame by frame the exact same. So here he's saying, I love you, Henry, I always have. Okay. But in reality, what he's saying is this.
Females.
He's looking for women.
Let's go to them.
See?
Sir Hans. Oh, shut up and let's go.
He's sticking with the other head right now.
We don't want them to spot us. Hans.
As you can see from their preview of Kingdom Come, Hans is not expressing his love to Henry. He's in fact thinking with his other head the moment he hears women giggling in the distance. Hans is, for lack of a better term, a womanizer. It is what it is. And if there's anyone who isn't gay, it's Hans. And again, this is why I felt the need to show this again, despite it being in the stream. because misinformation like this can lead to boycotts, and I think we need to be careful when it comes to what we say or do when it comes to things like this. Because context will always matter, and if you just saw those photos, you would think, oh, well, Kingdom Come 2 is gay now, but no, that scene isn't. Someone clearly fabricated those subtitles on purpose. Again, here's another image where Henry claims that his love interest in Kingdom Come 2 is trans, but again, this is patently false. Firstly, the subtitles here are using the wrong font that the game itself uses, which means this was, yet again, a sloppy job by someone to create a narrative to sabotage Warhorse Studios. Secondly, this screenshot is not in any of the trailers either. It's a literal screenshot that was taken from the official website. Here, like, look, I went on the website itself and there's the same picture as I showed you. But there's no subtitles that are, again, not even the right font that the game uses either. What this all sounds like to me is that there are people out here trying to actively sabotage the momentum and success of Kingdom Come in Warhorse Studios by proxy. Now, why would they be doing this? Probably to undermine or ruin the game because they know without any road bumps in the way that Kingdom Come 2 is going to be a mega success. And the usual weirdo activists on the internet who've had every single game and piece of media that they've championed either fail or close the studio that made those games, are angry and butthurt that real games made by developers who are actually giving players what they want are out here doing the work that they can't do. And like usual, when it comes to things being too successful, they use misinformation and shady tactics to ruin the things that they hate. Like I showed you already, those pictures are false 100%. They couldn't even be bothered to put the right font for crying out loud. Talk about failing at your grift. But the inclusion of these supposed LGBT scenes are unfounded as of now anyways. They could very well just be one of the primary villains of the game having some scenes where, we see what they're up to in between quests. And frankly, if the gay scenes in this game are specifically tied to Istvan Toth, the bad guy, who we know is a terrible human being anyways, that is not a reason to boycott Kingdom Come 2 at all. Now, the claim by Insider that Henry has same-sex romance options, I do need more context on that. But again, do you even care, since it ultimately comes down to your player choice anyways? I, like many of you, will be playing Henry as a straight man. And I mean, you could be gay in other games like Mass Effect or Baldur's Gate 3, but the difference was that it was up to you as the player to decide if you wanted to do that or not, which I didn't, and many of you probably didn't either, and you all had, like me, a very normal experience with both of those games. Case in point, context really matters here, and I hope I was able to at least show you guys how misinformation can really sour the well, so to speak, so quickly, but that's what I got on Kingdom Come for now. Let me know what you think about this as always. Will you be buying the game? Will you be boycotting it or something else? I will be reviewing the game either way to ensure that I get to the bottom of this so that I can report the findings to you guys no matter what. Also, I need to add this to the video after initially finishing editing, so I'm sorry if I sound weird here, but there was a response from Warhorse Studios regarding all this Saudi Arabian banning stuff. Fandom Pulse reported on it, and True Gaming, another Saudi site, said this: "We have received official confirmation that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has not been cleared for release in Saudi Arabia by the General Authority for Media Regulation. The reason is that it violates one of the terms of the classification and clearance systems for video games and the publisher's unwillingness to make the required modification to the content." And then Prokop Jursa, who is the lead designer on Kingdom Come 2, said this during a very recent developer interview that they live streamed, where he said this: "If you want to know anything about our game, you can watch it by yourself. Really, it was a bold move by marketing when we sent the review codes because we allowed everyone to use their own footage. So if you want to know more, if you want to research, really search the internet, find your favorite YouTuber, check his gameplay. Don't trust only us, just watch other people, wait for reviews, and I'm pretty sure you'll really love what we're offering." Then PR manager Tobias Stoles Willing then concluded, "I think that's a nice ending, trust us, and don't believe everything you read on the internet." So while they don't outright deny the claims, they are trying to calm nerves. It's a very weird response though, because it would have made far more sense to just straight up denounce the claims, but by not doing so, in my opinion, they are now just stoking the flames even more. But I wanted to add this here last minute for more context, so do what you will with that, but they're not overtly denying the claims, which is very weird and concerning. But now, let's move on to this other pressing story. So previously, a few videos ago, I spoke about how Square Enix had a new policy where they would be effectively banning users from owning or buying their products if they breach their code of conduct, so to speak. The policy stirred up people because within Square Enix's policy, it stated that internet comments could lead to the bans of players being able to play their games. And by ban, I mean they would find your account on whichever platform you're on and then blacklist it from their content, which is genuinely insane to me, and I still hope that this changes. But so far, it doesn't seem that way since now more companies are following suit, and that's why I wanted to talk about this more. So the next company that is doing this is Epic Games, the makers of Fortnite, owners of Unreal Engine, which a lot of games run on, of course, and they are also getting in on this anti-free speech, anti-consumer policy. There was a report that came out that detailed this, which was compiled by expressinsights.org. I'll read what's relevant, so here it is. In a significant update to its policies, Epic Games has introduced new terms of service that have raised concerns among its user base, particularly in the United States. According to the revised terms, users who fail to accept the new conditions will face the immediate loss of access to their Epic Games accounts. Furthermore, any violation of these terms could lead to permanent account termination without prior notice. The new terms, specifically highlighted in sections related to termination, indemnity, ownership, and license conditions, outline strict guidelines for user conduct and usage rights. Under Section 9 termination, it's explicitly stated that failure to comply with any part of the terms of service results in automatic termination of the agreement. Users are also given the option to terminate their agreement by deleting all copies of the software, which then nullifies their license to use any Epic Games products. Additionally, Section 8 indemnity mandates that users agree to indemnify Epic Games and its affiliates against any claims or legal actions stemming from user misconduct or breaches of the agreement. This includes claims arising from negligence, misuse of software, or infringement on third-party intellectual property rights through user feedback. In terms of ownership third-party licenses, Section 6, Epic Games retains full ownership and intellectual property rights over its software and services, with user rights granted by license only, not by sale. The license conditions, Section 2, further restrict how users can interact with Epic software, prohibiting commercial use, reverse engineering, distribution, or any form of unauthorized modification. Users are also barred from behaviors detrimental to the community's enjoyment, such as cheating or harassment, which could lead to immediate account sanctions. So there's a lot to unpack there, but as you can see, it states that when you buy their games, you are only buying the licenses. You do not own the game itself. And therefore, if you do anything that is deemed wrong thing in their eyes, your license can be pulled. Crazy, right? And this is the digital future that we're heading towards, where you will literally own nothing and you will be happy, as they say. Of course, some of it is normal stuff. Obviously, don't hack their games or cheat by using third-party software. We've seen this a lot, I'm sure, in many online games. So that makes sense to ban cheaters because it's obviously destroying the integrity of the experience for others so that these cheaters can win. I have no problem with these people getting banned because I think we can all agree that it makes sense. However, the whole making comments on the internet pretty much thing is where I draw the line. This is, for all intents and purposes, anti-free speech, and technically in places like America, this does go against their rights and cannot be implemented. Because if Epic does something shady or pushes things like skins in Fortnite or whatever other game, and people find things too expensive or something, you have a right as a customer to publicly call them out and say, hey, this is egregious and here is why. And it's crazy that we've quickly reached the point where if you criticize them or they deem it as harassment when it isn't harassment, it's legit customer feedback, you can get Fortnite or whatever else banned from your account or pulled. This is a gross overreach, and frankly, I am at a loss of how to effectively challenge this. I'm not saying boycott anyone right now, but this is now the second company that is doing this. And then we have DMG, who's the global community lead for Bungie, the makers of Destiny, applauding Square Enix for their harassment policy. But like I said before, it's not harassment to criticize a company's policies. Sure, you shouldn't go and stalk a game developer in public or harm someone with a knife, that's obvious. But I think that if someone were to take their obsession or hate to that far of a level, it's no longer about video games. And it very quickly becomes a criminal situation where police should be notified and involved and people should be charged or imprisoned. I think we have no qualms with that, really, right? But don't go around physically assaulting people or attempting to unalive them, as if that ever needs to be stated. But criticizing a company for egregious monetization or censorship in their games should never be grounds for termination, because all it will do is allow that company to continue their shady business practices by instilling a feeling of fear amongst its player base to not speak out against it. And at that point, all this will do is cause people out of morals to not support these companies in the long run. Maybe for Epic Games this won't exactly work, they're a really big company, Fortnite is kind of its own thing that people play blindly no matter what. But Square Enix especially is not impervious to the same levels of damage. Turns out also that Bungie community guy DMG has me blocked on Twitter as well, same with Grumps, even though we've never interacted once with this guy. But DMG and Bungie, like always, are more worried about virtue signaling than actually delivering experiences that their players want. I mean, Destiny 2 lost like 90% of its player base since its final expansion came out, and Marathon is apparently in dire straits too. Bungie in general is just a mess, and PlayStation, from what I hear, is not very happy with their purchase of the company, and I really can't blame them, because this Bungie is not the same ones that made Halo. It's the Ship of Theseus argument all over again. They're only Bungie in name for the most part these days. Just go look at Marty O'Donnell. He'll tell you how Bungie has fallen off completely in the past decade and a half already. I do believe that this entire new meta, so to speak, forming is terrible, and I don't believe that it will work in the favor of most of these companies, especially the smaller ones. Because when your products are already struggling, it's not a good idea to start blacklisting people even more like this. But as my favorite movie once said, theatricality and deception are powerful agents to the uninitiated, and these companies will use these deceptive tactics to forcefully push people into line whether they want to or not. I think the first step at least is to make people aware of this. I'm not saying again to boycott Epic or Square, but there needs to be a common middle ground here. And what they're doing sounds very nebulous for sure. I think the deceptive tactics are in full swing though. As I was told by a source months ago, the concept that companies will start becoming deceptive with how they word things or present them is becoming ever more present already. Maybe with Kingdom Come, they'll push it as a based experience, but hours in, there's LGBT themes that you can't escape. I don't know yet. But I also saw people complaining, saying, so what if these games have LGBT themes? What's wrong with it in the first place? And I think the major reason why we're seeing such nuclear reactions to anything that is anti-consumer or pro-woke, so to speak, is because if you give these companies an inch, they're going to take everything, the same way activists will consume you if you let them. And the idea of supporting something that implements such concepts even on a surface level is reason enough for these players to boycott these products or companies. Because the support of such concepts means that you are indirectly allowing said concepts to thrive in a sense. And theoretically, it means they could expand and go further in the future too with those said concepts. A great example is, well, look at all the games from 2010 to now pretty much. First it's just body type A or B. Then it became, now there's top surgery scars. Then it became all white men are evil, and if you don't agree with everything we say all the time, you should be jailed or worse. So I 100% understand where people are coming from in this sense, and that's why I think it's important to speak on these things and report it. We need to be more informed than ever before, and it's important because it's called a slippery slope for a reason, guys. All it takes is one wrong step for it all to come tumbling down. The pendulum has begun to swing back to the right, but as history teaches us, eventually it will swing to the left in due time. And what happens then? Will we just be back where we were to begin with? Or can the pendulum, so to speak, be locked in place, forever stuck one way ideologically? Or would it be better to just cut the pendulum at the root and throw it all away together? Before I go as well, I want to comment too on a previous video that I made about Pathfinder, Warhammer, and Paizo. People said that I got the information wrong in that video and that the Pathfinder creator is not related to Owlcat Games. It does seem that I made a mistake, and I apologize for that, and thanks for correcting me, and I promise to do better when future content comes out. If I ever get anything wrong, guys, just please correct me. I don't take it negatively ever. I can only be as good as my content, and if I screw up, let me know so I can fix it for the future. But thank you for watching. Let me know what you think as always. Subscribe, have a wonderful day. Thanks to my supporters, and I'll see you soon.